Yeah, I used that on Reels today from PunFest.
All right, you guys, welcome
and
back
I feel
to
guilty about it. I'm like, I think Cordova used that song a few months back. But I was like, and I'm using it.
I had to use it, dude. Just watching just the couple of videos that I've watched like this week. I don't think I've seen a video where you haven't said something about Colorado, Denver, your state in any of the videos that I've seen. I almost had Chipotle tonight for dinner because I learned that Chipotle. I think you were like going the video. I think maybe it was like POW house going somewhere.
401, 411, the HB house number 2 or 3, whatever, 4 maybe. That was my house on Isthmus Street. That's where Todd Lyons used to live. Spike Jones, bunch of people live there. Nate Hansen, Joey Garcia, Josh Hino. Man, we had a lot of people in there.
What did when you think back about that house, what's something like, what's the vibe? What do you remember it like back then? Like, what was a day like? I don't want to say a day in the life, but like, what was it like living there, man?
Well, I was like stay up late, drink a lot, then see who could sleep in the latest, and then see who could ride the most. Like pretty much that was the day. And then we'd wrench on, like Timmy Ball, Jason Ball, we'd wrench on cars, Nate Hansen. We all we just had our cars. We'd just turn wrenches, swap an engine, do whatever, but mainly just ride our bikes a lot, go to the Van skate park, go Skate Street. What was that other place? Paris, Lake Paris, skate park.
Dude, was that coming out from the Midwest when you first landed in California? Was that, I mean, when you landed here, man, was it just like everything was a culture shock, or was it like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be?
No, there was no culture shock at all. It was just like I rode there a lot before I moved there. So I'd always stay at Sean McKinney's house, and really Sean McKinney's house was in Bellflower, like California, and it was pretty ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto in Denver, so it wasn't like anything that I wasn't used to. Then moving there, it was like I wanted to move to San Diego, to Mission Beach area. Then the HB house had a room open up, and for a couple $100 a month, it was hard to pass up.
Yeah,
live down the street from the beach for a couple $100. And then I think at the time, XS, like Schwinn was just asked me how much my bills were, and so they pretty much covered that end of it. So had a lot of extra spending money, traveling money, and getting a lady money.
Yeah, dude, what was that like? I mean, like to have, I mean, was it literally like people knocking on your door, just going, yeah, like you said, like, what are your bills? Or like, I mean,
yeah, that's how John Paul Rogers just approached me. It was like, quit Primo. If you quit Primo, then what would it take? Like, how about we pay your electric bill? It's like, well, I live at the HB house that comes at about $9 a month. So then at one point I just was like, this is going to work out pretty good if I can just get like $30, $75 a month sponsors. So
yeah,
pretty
that
much
was the goal.
Like the Costco pack
originally that was just the goal. Like, I'll just get like $30, $75 a month sponsors. That should cover it. And little did I know it would just be like crazy, like that ended up just needing to only have a few sponsors and not worry about all that, chasing down $75 checks, but was pretty blessed with good opportunities and a good time in life, just trying to just be different, just think out of the box, and have my 15 minutes of glory pretty much.
Dude, yeah, I would say it's a lot more than 15 minutes, brother. But
yeah, it's lasted a little while. I'm taking it for a good spin.
Right? Dude,
yeah.
Let me ask you this. You just a precursor, because later on I'll have a question for like all of us, just a roundtable discussion on. But if you looking at your BMX journey, I think those of us that have been doing this, and you just can't leave it. You leave for a little bit, maybe you get married, you go, or you do, go to college, you do something, and it just keeps coming back to BMX. People that understand that vibe, that there's something in your brain that makes you come back, and you just can't leave. What was your journey to BMX? Do you remember like that first moment when you're like, this is my jam? This is my jam.
Oh man, maybe in high school, had a little bike shop, Smoky Hill Cyclery. The guy's name was Stan Man, so Stan the Man, and he got me a deal on a Haro package. It was like a Haro Sport, in leathers. That was the first time I actually got something for free from somebody, just even if it was just a small shop. Before that, though, me and my friend Jay Eggleston, we paid to ride for GT. We paid like I think it was like $250 to get like a GT Pro Freestyle Tour, leathers, the dyno shoes, the jersey, and we thought that was pretty cool. But my first package of like even if it was just from the bike shop, it was still cool. Like just thinking, yeah, I might be able to like, pull something off here with this little opportunity. And then yeah, we just rode a lot, and I guess the first like idea, like, yo, I'm gonna start actually making money is like I think like we're at Oklahoma City contest, at a Hoffman contest. Sean McKinney was offering me some ideas about riding for Primo and different things, and then money every month, and that was like in 94, I think. So yeah, I went from like owning a construction company, like siding houses, to just giving up the whole company, giving it to my friend Todd McMahon, and then I was just on a journey, like ride for S&M, then Primo, and then Dragon sunglasses. Then Dragon didn't work out. Puma signature shoe, and like getting the Dave Mira games. So I had just all kinds of things going on. And then
don't be passing over your best sponsor yet, Fly Boy.
that Calvin Klein.
Out the best one. He's leaving out the best one when he was a little supermodel and he rode for CK1.
Yeah, that was eyewear. Yeah, that, I mean, riding for Calvin Klein was cool. It's just it was kind of like I don't know, it was like a sketchy deal.
Much better when he showed up to the jumps, I'll just say that much.
Yeah, it was like they'd get mad at me because I didn't like wearing sunglasses, and the contract said represent Calvin Klein eyewear. And I mean, us being BMXers, right? We grew up. I knew where Ron Wilkson put every sticker. I knew how many watches Condor would have on his wrist. So you can represent companies without actually, I don't need to look like, Jay Miron out there in sunglasses while I'm riding. It's just not going to happen with me. But yeah, they would get pissed, and I'm like, the contract just says it says right here, like, got to represent Calvin Klein eyewear. It doesn't say anything about actually wearing the glasses, and that, they didn't take that very well. But.
Hey, Troy, I want to back up real quick. So you mentioned that you owned a construction company. Now that came after, I mean, you had been riding for a while, right? And then got into the construction. So like what made, if I'm right, what made you kind of step away from, I'm not saying you quit riding. I'm just saying started your own
No, I
business.
actually owned the construction company, actually a few of those before I even turned pro. Um, when I was traveling, I was making a lot of money. Well, I was making enough money, $300, whatever, to live in Huntington Beach by the beach. I didn't really need to work. And no, I put the construction company to the side. Like I said, I gave every tool away. I gave all the responsibilities. I gave everything to my friend and was like, thank you, but I'm moving on. And the bike riding though, like I know a lot of people think that I turned pro. I was in the limelight and the limelight burned out and I just kind of walked away from it all. But like I walked away from the competitive scene of it. I walked away from the industry of it. I walked away from the politics of it, but I've never ever not ridden my bike. Like the only time I've ever not ridden my bike through my entire life till now is like only when I'm hurt. So
Yeah.
Through all the crap life gives you, drug addiction, pretty much my downfall. Um, Even when I was addicted to all kinds of shit, I still always made time to go ride. Like sometimes a lot better than other times, but I was always riding and always pushing myself. I didn't really dig riding with people or around people, but every time like props had come to town, I'd make sure I was there. And anytime Ride came to town, did a scene report, made sure I was there. Just tried, like at that time, stay relevant, sorta. Like not that I really cared. I always had it in my head that if I wasn't like top 10 competing wise, that I would just step aside and let somebody else try to live that dream. And like now that I'm 50, I'm like, damn, that was a pretty dumb choice, uh, quit everything because I'm not top 10. I just had it in my head like that's what I was supposed to be doing, like be competitive, be on top of my game, and like be, pushing the envelope all the time with bike riding. But I just didn't have that in me anymore. I didn't enjoy going to contests. I didn't enjoy living on airplanes and at the airport and in hotels. And like that contest was hard because I'd get dropped. I'd get an airline ticket to the airport, but I wouldn't get a rental car. I wouldn't get a hotel. So I would just wait at the airport until I noticed somebody with a bike. Then I'd roach a ride, and then I'd get drunk and I'd roach a hotel room. Most of the time it was a bathtub or something stupid, just let me sleep over there. Or yeah, it was never like I mean, shouldn't say never. When I rode for Primo, they hooked me up pretty good, but after Primo and I split ways, I pretty much just had I was blessed to be there, but it sucked because I didn't really have I didn't have like people behind me helping me like achieve. I had people behind me helping me make a fool out of myself.
Right.
Like you get there, you be as crazy as you want, and that's what we pay you for. And
Yeah, for
so
sure.
They
that
want the
kind of got
brand,
old.
right? They
I
want the
burned a lot of
image.
bridges with good people, being the dumb drunk and just thinking, fighting and raising hell was the fucking way to do it. And just, maybe at the time it was. Just now I'm just an old dude, dad, want to ride my bike with my kids, and really I don't try to get in trouble. And if somebody cuts me out the skate park too many times, I might lose my cool. But I
Right.
usually end up apologizing to them too. So
Yeah.
Dude, go ahead,
I was
Greg.
just going to say, you were talking about a lifetime of riding bikes. The only time you're off your bikes is, when you've been injured or other things in your life kind of just,
yeah,
have their grasp. But dude, first of all, I'm going to say congratulations on, I'm sure everyone's seen it that follows you, your recent marriage and the videos you were putting out. I can't say that those were probably the best freaking like marriage bike trail friggin' jump, and all your groomsmen and everyone and
Yeah.
everybody's getting crazy, dude. Congrats on that. Like,
Yeah, it was so cool, man. Like, like this summer, like, Colorado area, we've been pretty blessed to have like, the whole Fast and Loose crew hanging out with us and riding with us a lot. And it really meant a lot to me that, they made time out of their schedule to actually be at the wedding. And then all of them couldn't make it, but the few that were there was like, it was really cool and special to me. And then, there's all the friends and all the people that love us over the years. And then, we all had like Reclamation bike tuxedo shirts on. So I thought that was pretty cool that, everybody, even with big sponsors and all, were like, yeah, we're going to wear that. No sweat. And yeah, I mean, we were shooting to have a rad wedding, but I think we stepped up the game when it comes to the wedding
yeah,
thing.
you
And then
did.
I had to go dirty dancing, had to learn some
Did you learn some moves?
couple moves.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, my lady, my wife now, Sammy J, like we met right when she first started riding BMX. So like 32 years old. That was the first time she picked up a BMX bike. Now she's 39 years old. She just shreds. She's committed, and she's really put I mean, she's just made life fun for me. Like, makes it to where I want to get out there and like share what I'm doing with people and not be so.
I'll share something with you, man. Last year at Old School BMX reunion, I didn't introduce myself. There was a lot going on, but I was there, and I saw you, Sammy J, and your kids, and they had like a karaoke or on the dance floor. People were singing, playing music. It was your family rocking out on the floor there, and I was like, man, look at that. I mean, like, you could just tell it's like a whole family affair. They were all at Old School reunion. Everybody was jamming out, having a good time. And then I see your wedding videos and stuff. I'm just like, this is totally from the top down, from you down to the kids. Everybody's involved. Everybody's having a good time, and you're passing that torch as a family, man. I think that's super dope.
Yeah, at Old School Jam or Old School Reunion, like we had posted a little living room set that we did, and then John Pova asked just sarcastically, when the tour was going to start, and we are like, it's going to start at Old School Reunion, and he's like, all right. So we loaded up all the instruments and drove our van all the way to California and kind of went on a tour. Because when we got back from Old School, we went right to another gig at our friend's house in the backyard, and
Father, will you be so kind as to unlock my phone?
so we were on a little tour, and our family band's called the Temper Tantrums. So,
Nice.
Get in here, Beta.
but that's that's Beta. That's because our little Mary May, she likes throwing the
Yellow.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey.
Doing good. How's the ankle?
Yeah, it's the road to recovery. Your mom and dad are gonna drop you and your sister off so you guys can babysit me, and they're gonna go out and have a nice date night.
Actually,
I
they're gonna drop.
I already talked to mom about it.
We're gonna drop them off, and they're gonna paint your nails. You're gonna look cute.
That
Oh.
whatever it takes.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
I'm gonna send Troy pictures of toenails painted like Star Wars figures, so they can just paint your toes like Star Wars Boba Fett or Stormtroopers, maybe little Darth Vader.
It's pretty lame though. It's like I only get my nails painted when I have to go through like major surgery and I have a hospital stay. That's when the nails get painted. But Zach, it doesn't look like you've gotten out of that damn bed for like 2 weeks, dude.
Dude, doctor, I went to some doctor's appointments. They're wanting me to stay in it keep this foot
They give
elevated.
you a little foot trolley.
Yeah, well, I've got that. Chad Kagey's sending me an iWalk.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get that so I can walk around. But yeah, they want me to keep this foot elevated as much as I can, just due to the trauma that was in there and the swelling, the amount of swelling that was there.
Let's see the cast there, Zach. Show us this, because this one's going on YouTube. Yeah,
How often do you got to replace the batteries in that? That thing's glowing pretty bright, dude.
It runs off hamsters, so I just keep them fed.
Yeah. Is that the cheapest one they had? They're like, hey, it's 20% off if you want the yellow one today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually paid me if I wore it.
Yeah.
So I took it. I was like, these
Dude.
hospital bills are getting big. So
Man,
yeah, take care of me, please.
I love the fact that they have colored casts now, because man, when I was a kid, it was like plaster and it would just disintegrate over the course of like however long you were broken for. And
Yeah.
like it wasn't until I was out of like nowadays, like you have to be big hurt to get a cast, or you had to have like good insurance to get a cast. If not, they're like,
you know what sucks though is
it.
that like I broke my wrist in October. I had to get a cast, and you know they have all the colors and everything is cool. So then like what 3-4 months ago, my little daughter Mary May, my 10-year-old, broke her wrist. She goes in, gets a cast, and they're like, give her from, they told me no water sports, don't get it wet, can't swim. They give her a waterproof one. So kids get waterproof casts, adults don't though. That's bullshit.
Don't they know we like taking baths and shit? You know, I mean,
Dude, I know, right?
Dude,
I want to go swimming.
I want to swim.
Yeah. Who do you think's paying for the insurance? You know what I mean? Like, give dad the cat. Like, dad needs this little R&R. Come on.
Right.
In 2 weeks when I have to go back for to get the rest of my stitches out and the new cast put on, I'm taking Mary May with me so she can convince the doctors that I need a waterproof cast.
Maybe, yeah, it might work. These girls, they have a way with people,
right?
Yeah.
So Troy, tell me, I just recently, I had not seen it, but I had just recently watched the birthday video, the birthday video from S&M.
Yeah.
And that's an emotional video to watch. You guys go right now, pause, head over to S&M's YouTube. You can't miss it. It's I think it's this happy birthday or something. I think
it says like 50 years of Troy McMurray.
There it is. Yeah. Watch that. Get some you're gonna have some emotional reactions to this, because it's every clip you can imagine, but it's also greetings and salutations from your heroes of the past. It's really, really moving. What was that
and
like?
Heroes of the present, like I was surprised, like all the, I don't know, Dennis Henderson, and I was blown away. It's like, it is emotional. It's emotional. Like, this is a sport, like this is a brotherhood, back when I was young, if there was one kid in the neighborhood with a BMX bike, you're automatically best friends. It just didn't matter. So that doesn't, to this day, doesn't really change. Like, most of us, BMX bike or these big bikes or whatever, like we're still bike riders. And so we still have that drive. We still know what that passion is and what dedication it takes. There's a fine line of like, riding and surviving like life, like one wreck, especially like in my case, like I don't get paid from anybody. I don't make money. Like, I work a little just to get by the month. I just make enough just to survive. And so one wreck for me is like, could be the end, like catastrophic, like, so people get that. And, like most of us are that way. Most of us are like, bike is number one priority. Really, like, it's sad to say, like over family, over kids, like when you put it out in front of everything, like it's really, it is emotional to be like that with your friends, especially like getting older, like, yeah, like we all share that bond, of what it is. So yeah, I mean, the birthday party was crazy. I had no idea it was going on at all. Zero.
You should have seen Troy's face when it happened, because I was a dumbass and parked like on the block when we went to have
You know,
this
right
party.
in front of the theater that my wife's best friend's parents own. So I was like, what is he doing here at this place? Like I thought I was there to watch a football game, you know, like
Yeah. What are the odds
so
of Zach being here?
I know. Then
Hmm.
he's like,
So
no,
he
I'm at the
calls.
stadium. And I'm like, damn, that's a long ass way to park to save like $10.
Yeah, I told Troy, he calls me up and he's like, dude, what are you doing parked down here? And I said, shit, I didn't even think about it. I was like, I'm here. I had to go down to the Broncos stadium for the game. And he's like, why the fuck would you park all the way up here to do? I said, Jen and I rode our bikes down there. It's like, dude, it's fucking raining. And I was like, dude, I
You
did
were
what I had to do
striking
to
out, dude.
I did what I had to do I did what I had to do. And like everyone's in the background, we've got, 100 people in this room and they're just all laughing, like, trying not to bust out. Cause we hear Troy literally walking up the stairs towards us while he's on the phone with me.
Yeah. And it wasn't
So-
even until the curtain opened where I was like, what? He's right there on the phone looking at me. He's not at the mall. He's not at the stadium. And I was like, oh, I get it. So I'm not the sharpest French fry or maybe the sharpest tool in the shed or a French fry short of being a Happy Meal. But yeah, I was blown away, man. Totally blown away.
What do you
That
think?
everybody's effort into that, from Mike Crum and everybody editing it and S&M being involved and the YouTube thing and Adam Baker getting on the phone with everybody and the Condor and like just all the people, over the years I've met, I love, and they're like it was very moving, man. Like I'm already a big ass crybaby anyway, so yeah, it doesn't take much.
It spread like wildfire, like I called Rick Thorne and was like, Rick, we're doing a party for Troy. If you're not able to make it, we're doing a video tribute. He's like, dude, Adam's already hit me up. Called Corey Nastasio. Oh, by the way, Rick's already hit me up. It was just like this crazy thing. I went through my phone calling everyone and they had already been contacted, by someone. And I had just got the message from Sammy J to start contacting everyone, like literally 24 hours before I started making the call. So everyone was on top of it. It's just, that's where Troy is. He truly is a legend among legends with us. And he has done so much for the sport of BMX. And, all of us that have ridden together and competed with each other, we all love Troy more than words will ever say. And, I'm honored to be able to call him, one of my best friends, and I'm able to call his daughters my nieces. He's, as he said, it's a brotherhood. Troy and I, there's nothing that we wouldn't do for each other. The night that Dave Mira, we found out about his passing, Troy and I were together, and it was, we just held each other and cried. It was, it is amazing what bikes do. Bikes are bonds. That could not be a more true or accurate statement in this world.
Dude, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like the friendships that we have, they are lifelong friendships. Like I've literally run into friends that I've had since I was 12 years old on social media. Like, hey man, good to see you. I mean, and to see that where people land in life is so interesting to me, and just the commonality of like BMX and the thread of that is just so powerful, because I think we connect on a different level. Troy, you kind of touched on it. Like we're out here doing things that are absolutely ridiculously dangerous. Every day we're a little bit older. Every day we got a little bit more, skin in the game. Falling down hurts a lot more and impacts my life a little bit more, but we're still drawn to the sport, and we're still drawn to this like commonality of no matter who I run into on a bike, like you said, Troy, it's like that's your best friend. You know what I mean? If you see someone on a BMX bike, and at least back when I was a kid, if there was someone on a dyno, there was somebody on like even a department store freestyle bike, you would chase him down, dude. Miles, you'd be like, chase him down.
Yeah,
to find
yeah.
out, like, hey, do you
Like, hey,
freestyle?
we got to hang out. Where do you ride at? And then like,
Yeah.
oh, we got a quarter pipe in the backyard. You're like, hell
Yep.
yeah.
Bro,
So what? You live like 2 blocks away from me?
yeah. I'll be honest, dude. I made friends with a kid the entire summer. He spoke about 1 sentence of English. He was from Cuba, was in Miami, came out here. I think he ran away from home to live with his dad for a summer. Didn't speak really any English. That was my best friend for an entire summer because he also could do flatland. And I was like, dude, we're besties now. Like, it was the craziest thing. But
Yeah.
you throw people like that, like you connect differently. You know what I mean? And it's totally cool about it. But Zach, I want to see real quick. Can you show us your shirt and then share one of your favorite memories that you have about Troy?
The Troy McMurray sucks shirt. You know, of course, when I knew I was calling Troy up to be on the show tonight, I had to wear the shirt. You know,
but those real fast on those shirts, if you don't mind, you know, that people who own those shirts, that every time I see them, like when I exploded my femur like 3.5 years ago, like 17 fractures in my femur, it exploded. And so back to that, I don't make much money, you know, like I put bike riding literally in front of everything I do. And so I made those shirts and they went so fast. It helped me pay my bills for like 4 months, you know, like just everything about those shirts means the world to me when I see my friends or just followers from the gram or from Facebook even that purchased them, and people will never know how much that really meant to me. Like, you know, when you're hurting in a wheelchair and you're told, you know, 6 months, no weight bearing, here's your wheelchair, good luck. You're just like, man, what the hell am I gonna do? And then I just was like, well, that sucks. Troy McMurray sucks. All right, let's just do that. It sounds good. And then you know, that's really just from Primus Sucks t-shirts, and then made those and did some art, painted some pretty cool pieces. I'll show you a couple. Got that one of the old Vic Murphy right there.
Yeah.
Even have his signature on it right there. So I called up writers and then I did a selfie one of me. Selfie. You know, these are pretty big. So did some of those, and then I did one of Matt Hoffman, my favorite person. Did one of the Condor, and then Cameron Birdwell bought it. Here's the one I did of the Condor. Really, these all just are not really the painting itself, but the frame, you know. It's the frame that like really makes the picture. Here's one of Eddie Fiola. That one's
we had him on. We had him on last week.
My guy. There's one of Mike D. And did you guys know that, see those riders down there on the bikes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rumor is that's Matt Hoffman and Brian Blyther. You know if that's a fact or not?
I don't know if that's a fact or not.
I've got it from good resources, dude. Anyway, that one's a pretty rad one. The Mike D Strike Zone. And the Vic Murphy one. Then Cam Birdwell, you know, had to do him. But the paintings went for a pretty good amount of money on canvas, and I made these prints. And then between the shirts and the prints and the painting, I pretty much survived for like 8 months. So that was.
And you did those paintings when you were laid up, right, Troy? I mean, that was.
I did them. Every one of these is wheelchair ridden. Yeah.
You know,
when the wheelchair place called and said, we need to come pick up the wheelchair. And I was like, does that mean I get to go ride again? And so that same day I was at the skate park learning to drop in again, terrified to roll into like a 3-foot mini ramp. So
dude,
got a
that's
couple
rad.
laps, and I would fly out of the 3-foot. I would do a whole lap through the bowl, and then I'd go to the 3-foot and fly out, and I would just do a 1-footer and leave my foot off so the impact wouldn't hurt my leg. So that's the way it just all started again. Just learn to drop in, then learn to fly out, and just see what, limitations I have and try to work with it. And then now it's been like what, almost 4 years in October. So time is flying.
Yeah, but isn't that the mindset though? I mean, like your thing is like, okay, I'm laid up. I need something to get by, but my clock is ticking as far as when I get out of this chair or when I can throw these crutches away. Your thing is like, okay, the chair's gone, I can ride because that's my sign, right? So like, I'm 50, Isaac is 50. I know you're not, Zach, but I've been in the ER. A matter of fact, I wrecked pretty hard with Isaac. I'm not trying to compare fish stories here with you because I know you've been through some trauma, but the thing is, it seems like we're always trying to figure out like how can we get back to it. I would guess like, in conventional sports, it's like you got to make that determination. Maybe the mindset is like, am I going to do this again? Do I really want to be playing football? I've broken or pulled my Achilles tendon or something. My career's over. But doesn't it seem like all of us, like, I think every one of us here has had some significant injury, and it's like, we're looking at a calendar or a clock going, how soon can I get back? What's my next step so I can work my way back onto the bike? I just think that our mentality, the way we view things, and especially the way you're saying, Troy, it's like getting by so I can get back on, and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Just like it, when you ride every day and you're just cruising, and it's like, all right, so I know that next week I should work so I can pay my bills, and then that'll be Monday through Friday. Then Monday I'll be back. Saturday I could be driving up to the trails, and all right, everything's good. But then when like it's actually just all taken away, like there is no option to go to work, there is no option to go ride. It's just you're hurt. And so I can't, like focus on just making money and being at home. Well, at that point in time, So yeah, when they like took the wheelchair, and by then, I already put on maybe like 60 pounds. So I normally cruise at about 215. So I was at about 280, 285. And then it's really looking hard. Like you're going to get back to riding. Before I got hurt, I thought I was riding the best I've ridden in years, like really confident, spinning a lot, going big, doing my own thing, and then get hurt. Pretty much like I said, start over, learn to drop in, and then learn to fly out, and then learn to do a tail tap, and learn to do like a ninja drop, and like all the stuff I like doing, and so talking yourself into that, and then is it worth it and all that, and then like, you start like getting some momentum, and then momentum is a crazy thing, right? Like once you feel a little momentum, you just like, it's like you keep building on the momentum, life just cruises. But the minute you stop that momentum, it's so hard to like just pick up again and make it relevant, like if that makes any sense. Like it's like a building block, right? So one little thing, one little piece, and just like a puzzle. So then you just start putting it all back together, and then yeah, life has a weird way of saying, all right, so you are like focused still, you are like dedicated, right? You are into this. And then with that momentum, like life is giving you, and then people start noticing it. People start, wanting to help you and wanting to see you do this, like, and then like you said, we're 50. It's hard to be like irrelevant 50-year-old BMXer. Like, there's just not that many of us. But then, like, to be like on a high game of it, like, it's not like I'm just, dude, I'm gonna go out on a bike ride. Like, I don't go out on bike rides, like,
Right.
every time I ride, I know that it could be the last day I get to.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Like, I hear the building blocks, the progression. You're like, okay, I'm going to start with my drop in, then I'll do a fly out. And then, but how do you kick off your mental game? Well, I mean, like, you're just coming off a major injury, or, like when you had your blood clot, your embolism.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get your stoke mental game prepared to get back on and go, shit, I don't want to be back in the chair, on my first week back? Like,
yeah.
What do you do to prepare?
Well, that's
for
what
that?
I always tell people this, like, really, like, I told Sammy J this when I met her first. Like, first thing I did was like, look, I can see it in your eyes. You have the potential, right? But when you're trying to get like this good all at once, it's nearly impossible. But when you try to break it down to like, I'm just going to be this much better today than I was yesterday. I'm going to swallow my pride. I'm going to put all of that competitive Troy behind, because that's really what it is, right? Like, egos are fucking crazy. Like, when you have one and you're just soaring with confidence and all of it's gone, and then you're like, well, I want to get back to that. Like, there's a time when they're like, all right, so you severely broken your femur, shattered your femur. I'm going to have you sign this piece of paper. You could wake up with no leg. But we got to have you sign the paper so you don't sue us that you're like an amputee when we're done. And so that whole thing weighs in on you. Then you wake up and you're like, well, my leg is here. My whole body works except this one leg doesn't. So we'll start with that. But really gets to like bike riding is like, put your ego aside. Like, when people are like, I get this a lot, like, especially these days, like, dude, how do you get out there and do this? Like, well, the first step is just to get out there, right? First step is to put it on your priority list. Like, my priority list, I wake up in the morning and I try to get out the door like 9:30. Like, I try to be at the skate park at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm done riding most every day at 1 o'clock. Then I turn into dad mode. But in order to get to there, you got to be there. You got to focus on getting there, focus on being there, and then just focus on your little improvement for the day. Some days it's just about longevity. You show up, you don't want to ride, you're hurt, sore, but just get a couple laps in, get your stamina working, get some sweat going. Then you'd be surprised on like a stiff body turns into a pretty relaxed body and some confidence after a few minutes. So
yeah,
that's what I like. I think for us older dudes, it's hard to like have a family, have life, have a job, have everything. And then you got to make time to go to a skate park. And then while you're at the skate park, you just can't turn into who you were when you're a kid, like, you have to take it one step at a time and just, like I say a lot, just swallow the ego, get rid of it. Who cares if somebody else is there better than you? Feed off that, enjoy that moment. And then, let time do its thing, right? Like, you heal with time and you'll get better with time. So if that makes any sense, that's kind of like just how I see it. Like,
dude,
that totally makes sense. Like I said,
like, get good being at home, fucking feeling sorry for yourself.
absolutely. Dude, here's my question, because like I've come back from like a twist of my kneecap around, so I've gone through that. Craig had a pretty serious ankle. Obviously, Zach, your heel. But for me, dude, I have the luxury of just being a dude on a big bike. What's it like being Troy McMurray? Do you like do you feel pressure from people like, hey, man, that's
there's
Troy
always
McMurray,
pressure.
dude,
Like, yeah, there's always that pressure, like, I think the thing that bothers me the most is like, people that don't really know me, and like people that get pissed that I post too much. When I get hate mail that I post too much, you know, I'm like, and so when I get those kind of mails, like messages, DMs, whatever, I like to look up the person. I'm like, you don't even ride, dude. Like, you're not even a collector. You're just like some couch surfer, dude. You know, like you're telling me I post too much. For every one asshole like that doesn't like me posting, I got 100 other dudes that love that I'm posting and that are motivating them to get up, get out. But my favorite ones of all, like the pressure is hard. Like, you know, like you sign up for the game, right? Sign up for this shit. You sign up for good. Dude, you're fucking rad. Dude, you're this, you're that. You also sign up for, dude, I don't really like you. I don't, you know, I don't like your style. I don't like what you're about. I don't like that you're a 50-year-old bike rider, whatever it is. I don't, you know, I don't really, I don't care about that shit. Like, I can't please everybody. I've never been out to please everybody. Like, that would be fucking impossible. But for the people that get motivated off my post, and dude, it drives me when I get comments like, dude, I want to thank you so much. I made it to the bike shop this week and I bought myself a new 20-inch bike, you know, and the cooler thing about that is I bought my daughter a 20-inch bike, and now me and my daughter have been at the skate park, or my son, but you know, I get a lot. I'm a, you know, I got girls, so I get
I
a
think we
lot
all
of,
do, you know.
yeah, I get a lot of like,
I've got two girls. They're grown and out of the house already.
yeah,
You know.
I get that, you know, that's like the coolest thing to me. Like, that's what makes it really rad to me. And then for my girls, they're like finally starting to get it. I mean, they've been riding with me for years now, you know, like they're like my little engine, dude. Like, I love going riding with them, even if they hate it. But now they're starting to identify, actually, they do ride. They're, you know, they're not the best. They don't want to be the best. They just like riding, doing their thing. And then now there's, you know, girls that come through Colorado and kids that come through Colorado. They want to ride with the McMurray girls. I think it's so cool. They think it's cool. They got their own little thing going on, and it's just motivating. It's motivating all the way around. Then we throw in Mama Sammy J, and it's just like, man, this is what we're about. We like playing some punk rock music or some Dua Lipa, it don't matter. And then riding some bikes, you know, and having fun.
Doing it as a family. I mean, how often do you hear people just grind, you know, mom and dad grinded at work, and, you know, they're weekend parents, or at least, you know, they got busy lives, and it's almost like there's not a lot of time to do the things like you're talking about, you know, going out with your girls or with their kids. And here you are, and guys like Isaac and myself and Zach, obviously we're all parents, we get it, you know, and it's like we would just kill for those extra minutes, and especially like handing over not only a lifestyle in BMX, but those, you know, shared moments, dude. I mean, that's something that every parent wants 1 minute more of in their day, in their week, you know, just that's time with their kids.
Yeah, dude. I mean, really, dude, it's a blessing to be a parent, you know, it's incredible. And then not every parent can do that though, you know, like Sammy J, she works her 40 hours a week. She doesn't leave the house. She's upstairs. It's fucking hot as hell in our house. She's a paralegal, does a law office stuff. She's on the phone with cases, doing this, that. And then the weekends come, it's her time. It's her time to get on her bike, let all of that go, you know, be a mom, be a BMXer, push herself, try to just get that little bit better. And it's so fun when I like come home and I'm like, God, the girls killed it today. Sammy J just rocked it. I had a pretty good day myself. That feels pretty rad, you know? So, and then on top of that, when we're at trails, we like to whip out the barbecue. We like to feed everyone around us. You know, we like everybody's our family, man. I'm so blessed. Like, go through life and just, you know, addictions and drama and life, and then maybe a toxic relationship here and there. And then like, oh man, I woke up one day, I was like, you know, counting down 43 plus, and like, wow, now I'm 50. Well, as we say, 43 plus 7, and like just rocking, man. Just like I'm so blessed, and I have like this new opportunity with Reclamation bikes, and been building that brand and trying to do good with that. And those guys are like, you know, one of those friends from the hood, you know, 12, 13 years old when I met Fred Gates and Robert Riley, and those are the guys at Rec. You know, their idea 10 years ago, and for the last couple of years I've been trying to make it not just a flatland company, and so trying to make, you know, American made product. It's good and with good meaning and good love behind it. So I think we're doing it. I think it's, I mean, I'm just blessed to be here, man. I'm so stoked.
Dude, we're stoked. Yeah. I mean, dude, here's the thing. I want to hear more about Reclamation, just because to me, like, flatland was my thing. I tried to race. I was not fast. I tried to jump and I crashed a lot. And so then flatland hit me and I was like, dude, I love flatland. So hearing about, like, you know, first of all, like, seeing you do flatland, seeing you do like hang fives gets me absolutely stoked beyond belief, man. That's probably one of my favorite things to watch anyone do is hang fives, dude. I think it's probably one of the coolest feeling tricks. Dude, my brain goes a million miles a minute. I have to
So
ask
does
you
mine.
something.
Plus throw the concussions on top of it. It's like,
Right?
it just stops working for a second. I get it.
Dude, I got it. Okay, so there's a trick, dude, that I've seen you do that I think is probably the craziest trick, but it's my favorite to watch. It's go up, cross up, and then catch with your
leave.
handlebars backwards.
Yeah, 360 cross up, like a half bar switch, just leave the bars backwards.
Dude.
Yeah, it's actually a trick Trey Jones put on there most on his site a year or so ago, was like most influential video part. And then so there's all these submissions. Apparently, I don't know if mine won or not, but he quit the whole contest and posted that trick. Was like, that's just the end of it right there. Like, so I think I won that video part without being told, you know, but that was the trick he posted. Like, that's on my list to, I'll get that trick done. I might do that trick this weekend. I've been working on my threes again, like some of the old stuff, and the cross up threes I've been nailing again. So it's just a matter of time of taking my hands off and leaving those things backwards again. So I can't wait. That's like, you know, I have a list of tricks. I have a list of like goals, and that's definitely on there. It's easily like on my top 5, like tricks.
You know, but you going back to those pegless rocket airs, Troy, it's amazing.
Yeah, the pegless rocket airs have been a lot of fun. And the pegless Neil Armstrong, it's a front peg rocket. So now it's just a matter of getting my spins and my feet to like cooperate, go where they need to go without pegs on the back. But I think like all the rocket 360s and rocket truck drivers and just rocket bar spins and rocket, you know, suicides. There's so many rocket tricks I used to do. I was watching a video and I was just like, man, I forgot about so many of these. But when I watch things like that, it's like, I don't think like, dude, it's not possible anymore. I think like, no, we're going to go do this. So, but I'm not a foam pit guy or an airbag dude. Those things just hurt my neck too much. So I think I got to do it the old way. Just do it. Like, there's no middle ground for me. You know, it's like, I have to do the risk factor, I guess, to make it fun. I don't know. When I jump airbags, my neck kills me. So it's just not worth it to me.
That's the
Hey, Veda, 1 second. Veda, can you go get my blue frame from my room? Please. All right, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Tell me more about like Reclamation. What's going on there? Tell me more about like what to expect there. What gets you stoked right now?
Well, Reclamation was started by my friends, you know, like I said, Robert Riley, Fred Gates. They've been flatlanders. I mean, my whole life. I met him. I met Fred Gates when I was 12. I met Robert Riley when I was 13. Fred used to be the dude who'd show up to the parking lot and, bust out. He was already sponsored by Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper and doing like, NBA basketball halftime shows. That's when I was 12. He was like way ahead of his time. Robert Riley is just one of those dudes that like neighborhood kid. I was at our dirt jumping spot, the V. Then he was there, and the next thing you know, we started a trick team. We all had trick teams when we were teenagers. Ours was called the Thrash Punks. Then I was riding for Hoffman Bikes. Well, Hoffman Bikes was helping me out with bikes. No, my frame only.
Dad,
the one in my room.
so much work getting this down here.
I said the frame only.
Dad,
So I already have a complete bike right there. I don't need another one down.
I want to see the-
She brings the other. I was telling her to get a frame. She brings my whole other bike down.
Dad, you have to respect me.
Can you just help me with the frame, please?
I don't want to walk up the stairs.
$1.
Beta, we appreciate you so much.
Yeah, she gets to be on a device right now, so she's would much rather be playing on her phone than helping Dad. But I'm gonna grab a frame so I can kind of show you guys. So anyway, the reclamation thing came up, and I'll get it out of the dark. So I was riding for Condor. The Condor is helping me with bikes for a few years there. And then my friends had started Reclamation. So after a few years gone by, I was like, maybe I'm going to ride for Reclamation. Started Denver, and then I rode for him for like 5 years. But then everyone's like, hey, where can I get a bike? And I'm like, you can't. It's like, this is a hobby. And so that got kind of hard, like I get flown around. My family can go whenever I want to go, do whatever event we want, but not really having product kind of takes the fun out of it. And so they offered me a chance to kind of take over, and kind of not, it's still Flatland Company. We have Dub, who pretty much wins everything. He rides our handlebars pretty much, but he's Reclamation rider. We fly him around. We get him to contests. John Francois, we get him around. They both do really rad. I pretty much think our Flatland scene is covered with those two riders. We have Chris Young. We just got Chris Young a new frame to his specs and colorway that turned out pretty nice. Then we got AJ Anaya. AJ Anaya's frame is a 20.6 top tube, 12.95 slam rear end. And AJ just, he kills it. He's got his, circus tricks or whatever, and does circus shows, and he travels with Barnum and Bailey now. And, he was doing Cirque du Soleil. That's his gig, and which is all good. We need all kinds, right? And then but lately I've been trying to really focus on trails and big bowls. And so we have a new frame, Cody Landers. It's one of the riders here in Colorado that builds at our Frisco trails, the Jump Doctors. So I thought, like, he's a really good friend of mine. He rules. So we're going to make him a bike. And then we have this UFO. This one's serial number 43.
Yes.
So I just said whatever serial number 43 is, whatever color, whatever frame, that's the one I'm going to keep. And so I got the blue 21-inch. That'll be the next bike I ride. But it's has the wishbone, has some pretty good dropouts because it is a 12.95, so you can bring it back to 13, and a half, 13 3/8 if you like it a little longer in the back. This is all OX Platinum. So all the good OX Platinum, I should say, because I've heard there is sort of OX Platinum that I guess Standard is using. This is the old tubing that Standard was using. The good stuff even sounds good when you hit it. But I've been riding these bikes for like 7 years now. Haven't broke one, haven't bent one. Bad news is with the OX Platinum is we have about 40 frames left that we're going to use only for team riders. And we'll be switching all of our production frames will be made with Verawall tubing now. So everything made in the US by John Courts. He made these ones. So it's kind of like a breed of Standard with FBM. So far I'm digging it. We got that and this cool color green. You can see the green one there. This is a Reclamation with a 5-inch head tube. That's just one of the prototypes and ideas. So yeah, we got that. Got chain rings being worked on with the Reclamation logo on them. C-post clamps. Got all kinds of handlebars. Like I said, we have the Jason Bourne bar. We have John Francois bar. Then we have our trail bar and our bowl bar, this 8.75 Colfax handlebar. The Colfax handlebar is now coming out 9.25. So we're going to have different sizes with all that. Was going to make a 6-piece bar, but I'm like, dude, there's just so many 6-piece bars. I almost just don't even like the way they look anymore. The box on them are really big, it seems like, and it's not like the Castillo bar. The Castillo bar was nice and small. The box of it, and the bottom tube that went in the stem was all nice and tight, and now it's just like really wide on the bottom. I just don't like them. I like a 2-piece bar. So, but yeah, we're just doing it, trying to make it happen. Albies has got a couple of the frames in. If anybody's interested in getting an AJ frame, they have the AJ and I frame over there, the AJA. And it's just a hard market, it's a hard, for me, I'm a construction guy, right? So everything is like tape measure readings. 20.6 is like 25/8 to me, like everything is like, I don't know how to I think my concussions also like play a part in how I communicate with people. Sometimes I think I take it like personal. If it's like the answer is no, and I'm like, well, what the? And it's like, it's nothing like, it shouldn't be anything like that. Just my head. I don't know, 20, 30 concussions in my life. So I know that I have I have definitely difficulties with my vocabulary and speech and self-esteem from it. Sometimes, even though things are going really good, I still wake up and feel like down in the dumps, depressed, and like I'm just wasting people's time. But shortly after I ride, that fixes kind of all that anxiety. But trying to get better at the communicating part, making the phone call, but it's a hard deal. I took it over and I do it all, like this design, colorway, sticker, layout, the phone call, the conversations, the shipping, the boxing, pull them out of the box, sticker them, repackage them, shipping, all of it. So it's a one-man show for the most part, but I said I just want to wake up thinking about bikes. I want to go to bed thinking about bikes. So this is the start of that. Just hoping it, the ideas I have and people are into following them with me or being a part of it with me. And so far, I think it's going pretty good. Nothing should happen quickly. If it's like worth doing, should be ready. Like I'm ready to go 5 years without making a quarter, just do what I got to do, make it happen. So got to definitely work on my concussion game.
Right.
It definitely does fuck with me sometimes. So
I'll remind you of something you said earlier, just about an hour ago, or maybe half an hour ago. But Troy, it's going to be difficult, right? It's going to be hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Get this much better every single day. You don't have to go from I just got some frames to I'm the new GT, I'm the new Haro, I'm the new Specialized. Just want to remind you of something you told us.
I don't want to grow into, I mean, eventually I do really, like, you know, when I was a kid, I'm sure, like, same, right? There was this thing called underground, you know, like Chase Gwynn, underground, right? The dopest of the dopest. Like, and that's what, like, I think a lot of the BMX is lost out on. Like, I don't know where the underground went. So I don't want to be like stuck in a garage or a basement my whole life, or in my case, the attic. But yeah, I want to keep it like roots.
Yeah,
So
I understand that. And
yeah,
there's something cool too, just to be said. You know, I'm gonna start wrapping up because I promised, like, hey, I'd have you for an hour, and I've already talked your ear off. But it's something about that house, man. Todd Lyons lived in that house. Todd Lyons almost on the same trajectory, right? Like,
yeah,
got picked up by SE, then was like, hey, you're gonna design the bikes. You're taking over the bikes for SE.
yeah.
And you know what I mean? He's done real well with it. I wouldn't know Zach if it wasn't for that. So dude, there's blueprints out there, and it's just something magical, dude, that like that era, that group of men that were boys at the time, right? That came out of that era, that group and that riding style.
Yeah.
What the common things, the common threads that are in that entire group, where you're running a bike company, Todd's running a bike company. You know, I think that's really special, dude. I just wanted to comment on that.
No, it is. And you know, the cool thing about that is like, I can get on the phone, call any of them. Like I tell Chris Muller, I tell him, like, dude, I mean, it's all possible, right? I just need a good mentor. So Chris Muller, he's been my boy for so long. I call him, you know. And then even like Ian Morris, I saw him this past weekend, that Pond Fest, and we were talking because, you know, I have ideas about Taiwan made completes and bigger bikes and littler bikes and everything. I want to do all of it. So, and it's so cool. Like, you can ask a question and you can get an honest answer out of people without them like worrying about, oh, he's just going to like step on my toes, or, you know, take those couple percentage of sales from me or whatever. It's not like that at all. You know, it doesn't feel like that anyway. So no, everybody's in it with each other, you know. And that's, I mean, BMX has just been that way, right? Like, going back to that, you're the dude on the block and there's one other kid somewhere with a BMX bike. So,
Troy, what do you think about, like, you mentioned two things that sparked an idea or a thought that I had. You mentioned Muller, and then you said you were talking about roots in a statement you were just making. Man, tell me what you think about these, like, you know, Swamp Fest, old school BMX reunion, Frogtown, you know, the things that Muller's doing, taking everybody out to the trails. You know, with social media, personally, I got a love hate with it, but part of the things I love is I get to see things that I would have never known were going down. Like when Muller takes everybody out to the woods and, you know, grab a shovel and get on the ATVs and get the trails, you know, dialed up and stuff. Like, what do you think about this? I hate to call it like a renaissance, but what do you think about, like, on social media, everybody getting to be a part of it, even if you have to watch it on a video screen? All these things that are going down with BMX, whether it be an old school jam, an old dirt fest track race, or even, you know, like I said, what Muller's doing. How are you feeling about all these new things that we can bring our kids and families out to as well?
I think they're dope. I mean, honestly, like, we're not all cut out to go to the fucking X Games, you know. We're not all gonna be Olympians. We're not. Most of us bike riders are like, you know, especially as we get older, weekend warriors, right? Want to go out to the trails and get out the grill, get a cooler, have a couple beers if you're into that, and hang out with the boys, right? And so that's what I think those weekends are like, the Swamp Fest and and like Pond Fest and the old school jam, old school reunion's just a good time, you know. You have everybody's there. We're all older. Everybody's got kids. They're out there running around, running amok, and like my daughters and Pete Augustine's daughters, like, you know, or daughters, really good friends. I think that's just really good fun for me, you know, and like I'd rather take my daughters to that kind of thing than like the X Games, the way the X Games are these days. I don't know. Hopefully they're going to make some kind of a comeback to something cool, but it's really just not. It's more like that commercialized stuff. The Swamp
Mainstream.
Fest and stuff is more like, it's just like, you know, the boys, we're just hanging out, having fun, shooting off stuff. So, yeah, I mean, Swamp Fest is a little dangerous for my girls, I think, you know, that's the only thing. Like we wanted to play. And I talked to Trey about our band, the Temper Tantrums, playing at Swamp Fest, and maybe we will next year, but Trey's like, dude, people are shooting bottle rockets and Roman candles at you while you're playing, you know? So it's really not a safe environment for kids, really. But
Right.
Chris Muller's like land is like it. That's all, Chris. That's all. We're not starting. We have a bonfire. We're not blowing up stuff, not lighting pallets on fire. We're not trying to light the woods on fire. No,
Yeah,
that's
what I'm
a big
saying.
thing
Like
in
with
Colorado, the mountains, once a fire can turn into like the craziest consequences, you know? So, but
Yeah, I
the
think
old
that's
school jam just rad. Cause it's like, dude, I get a hug Dave Volker. I get a hug Brian Blythe. I get a hug all my childhood idols. They're there. They're rooting us on. And it feels good. Just like, I know they're there and having fun, but I like to be there, just letting it all rip, going as fast as I can, talking shit like the old days, and maybe have a beer, smoke a joint with them and be happy, you know, like, yeah.
I think that's
Games
one
and
of the
all this,
dopest
you
things
know.
is that, you know, Troy, it's like there's the big network X Games, you know, a lot of corporate sponsors, and that's all great. I mean, it gives the top riders of the day an opportunity to showcase and show out, so they can feed their families and you know, pay their mortgage and whatever. But you know, the grassroots movements too. I mean, with as many big time TV competitions as there are, I'm seeing more and more pop-ups of these grassroots get in the dirt. Even the fans can come, I guess, if you want to say fans, but you know, like at old school, the reunion, you can literally have lunch or chop it up with Eddie Fiola, yourself, Zach, whoever shows up, and then go ahead and watch them do a flatland routine right in the quad area, or see who's riding the bull, or in the back you can watch someone on the trails. But then you know, you got that exposure, so it all brings it full circle, you know. And I think that's a cool thing that's going on. And I know, you know, reunion's been going on for years, but you know, we're seeing a lot of more little pop-ups here and there of just cool, like, hanging out with the boys.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Really, when it comes down to it, these grassroots events is just like what we do on the weekends anyway. That Frogtown Classic, I mean, that sounds like a good time. I think I want to try to get an old bike and go out there. It would be so fun to race like Chris Muller, and like I never grew up a racer, but I've been told that I can go pretty quick. So
Dude, come on out, grab a bike.
I
You
would,
can go.
and I'm competitive, dude. I mean, I don't mind losing, but I'm fucking out to try to win. Like, I want to talk shit.
Hell
So.
yeah. You can go
Yeah,
heads up with,
we
you can
were
go,
talking about maybe making that happen.
you should, you can go heads up with Stu Thompson, Mike Miranda, and Chris Muller all in one heat, dude.
I know. I think I got to make it happen. Do you think a War Pig would qualify as a classic?
Totally, it would
Absolutely.
qualify.
Absolutely.
So I got out there on the War Pig. I got a lighter version. I got an old War Pig, but all modern parts. So
I tried
It
to
still
get
weighs
Troy out
120 pounds.
no,
get
dude,
Troy
it's
out
probably
to the
like
pump track all the
27
time.
pounds, 27.
Yeah. Dude, so here's a question. This is what I wanted. Like, this is like the final wrap up question. And this is for you and for Zach. Thinking about being like 15, 16, right? Hanging out, gas and sip, Slurpee, your shins bleeding, You just had a rad session with your bros. You're about to head back because you got to go to school or whatever. When you thought about, man, when I'm 50, what do you feel like? Did you hit it? Did you get close? Is it nothing like what you thought? I'm
No,
curious
I
what your thoughts are
never, like, truthfully, dude, I mean, I really just thought like 27, I'd be dead. And like, yeah, I never looked toward 50. But after, like, you're living in Huntington Beach, you're making a whole lot of money, you're in a video game or two, you have some signature shoes, you have some parts, you have some things, and everything's looking good. You're like, damn, I'm glad I'm still alive at 28. But then, kind of like blink your eyes and you're 50. I would have never, ever imagined, first of all, that I'd have two girls, because I always imagined having a little boy. And his name would be Troy Jr. That's what I always thought. If I have a kid, it'll be Troy McMurray Jr. Then that didn't happen. Then I have these two amazing little girls that are like, truthfully a pain in the ass, but they're so fun, like it's just so cool. Then, throw all that in, the girls lost their real mother, their biological mother, to, a drug overdose. And so that was a few years after Sammy J and I had started dating, um, after I split up with their biological mom and kind of like turned to some drugs and turned to avoidance and hiding. And then like lawyer fees, tons of lawyer fees to get custody of the girls, and all this stuff was like, it was a pretty hard time in life. And then that's when Sammy J came into my life, when I needed somebody the absolute most. I mean, at a time I thought that I would never get custody of my girls, that they were going to get adopted, and they were in foster home, like lost their biological mom, lost them. I had split up and moved out, but then she accused me of a bunch of stuff. So there's no way I was just going to immediately take them back. And that was a pretty like dark time in my life, where I like, somebody tells you you're not going to get your girls, you're like pretty much like, what am I going to live for? And that's just the truth of it, right? Like, if I lost my girls, I was already predetermined that I wouldn't be on this earth anymore. So God is good. Sammy J is like a blessing. She's my best friend. It's like just an incredible woman. And then, her bike riding is like, they just got us so close, just watching this lady just like submerge herself into like breaking bones, stitches, stitches in the chin. I'm like, put super glue on it. Yeah, she's a stitches kind of woman. She doesn't need super glue. So,
right. Yeah.
But then we got custody of the girls. We fought together. She went with me to court dates, and yeah, now I'm 50, and like the girls are riding amazing. That Sammy J is super good. I got the bike company. I got my health. I don't have addiction anymore. I don't struggle with wanting to do narcotics or go out to the bar and like womanize and all this stuff that all that shit brings you. It's all the drama. So yeah, life is good, man. I would never, ever, ever have imagined I'd turn 50. I'd have 50 years of Troy McMurray, like YouTube edit up. That's, it got over 10,000 views. I thought that was cool on YouTube. That's a lot. And have the bike. And then, within what, 6 months, not even that, 5 months of turning 50, I get to marry this beautiful woman. And life is like, life is still life. I still got to try to make some money and pay my rent here in a couple of days, but I'm pretty resourceful. I figure it out for the most part. And then that's about the only thing I think I would change, my financial situation. But yeah, I just blessed to wake up and ride my bike, spread the love of BMX, and try to open up other doors, maybe like a 26-inch war pig would be pretty rad. those opportunities are all there. Try to make things happen, like have Reclamation, but S&M could still release some more pigs, some 20-inch and some 26, maybe some 29s. That'd be pretty cool. I think those would go over pretty good. But those are just all ideas of just like I'm fortunate, man. Like I'm alive, but like I can't even believe I survived. Like so Chris Muller said it best. You walk through shit and you came out smelling like roses. And it truthfully does feel that way, man. Like blown away.
That's couldn't have said it better. Chris Muller.
Yeah.
Zach, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, I look back on it and, 16 years old, I was racing BMX and, the world was at my fingertips and I really, really loved it. And, got into my early 20s and started the whole dirt jump scene with everyone and started competing against Troy back then in those days. And, Troy and I have always known each other. And I don't know that either one of us thought that when we were 50 years old, we would still be riding bikes. And, we still show up to the trails, every Sunday together. And we look at each other and we're like, dude, this is the good life. This is, we never thought we would make it here. And yet bikes have kept us alive and bikes have kept us together. And I couldn't be more proud of what, the bicycle has brought to me in life, to be honest with you. Really, it's been there since I was, born, and it's been there since as early as I can remember. I've had a bicycle underneath me. And, earlier you asked me a question, tell your favorite Troy McMurray story. And all these years of Troy and I don't want to get emotional here, but all the years that Troy and I have known each other and we've been able to call each other brothers, you would think my favorite stories would be something of us out on the road or competing against one another, and it isn't. I remember it so I remember it like it was yesterday. As Troy was going through a pretty rough patch, and I remember the day his first daughter Veda was born, like a light bulb went off in his head and he became a dad. And his life turned around and he just became the man that I knew he always was going to be. And that was the proudest day of my life, to call Troy McMurray my brother. And he has put all the bullshit aside. He's forgotten about all of the addictions and all of that shit so he can be there for his daughters. And like I said, I've been blessed enough to be their uncle, and I get to spend time with them. And but yeah, 50 years old and still kicking it and riding bikes. I never thought in a million years that this would be it, and still flipping it and still trying to push the envelope and still going hard. I'm blessed. I'm honored. Have amazing sponsors behind me. Have, Todd Lyons still there, giving me bikes, and it's, and I've all these other sponsors still backing me and helping support me. I could not be more blessed and be more honored, to say that bicycles are who I am.
Very well said. Yeah.
So there's my bicycle story, and there's my Troy McMurray story, all wrapped up into one.
Dude,
well, you did a great fucking job, guy.
I couldn't have said it better. I can't think of a better way to wrap this up. Craig, I'm just gonna go, hey, you guys, I appreciate that you spent time hanging out with us. Zach, thank you for setting this up, making this happen. Thank you for hanging out with, probably the two most handsome guys that Craig and I, and letting us, have a good time with y'all. Troy, thanks for inviting us into your life, being so vulnerable, sharing such just fantastic stories. and just being real, dude. I really enjoyed. I learned a lot from you tonight. I learned a lot
Dude,
about.
I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that have to fucking deal with this shit, daily. Addiction sucks. It's dark. It's fucking lonely. It's miserable. It's embarrassing. But like, you pull yourself out of it, man. Like, there's a lot of world left for people. It's a lot of like good opportunity and a lot of like, like I think like the part about addiction is not to keep carrying it on. I'm not an NA meeting. I don't, Sammy J does run AA meetings, but I don't go to meetings. If I want to have a beer, I'm gonna have a beer. Like, but like being addicted, like, we're talking like cocaine, crack cocaine, methamphetamine, like opiates and hard shit to get off of, like it's hard, man. You're deep, like you do fucking your behaviors are stupid. What you do when you're high is like something you most of the time would never do when you're sober. And just dumb shit. And people get so stuck in it and they just like, can't pull out. I just want those people to know like you actually can. It's hard. It's just the same theory though, right? It's just this one day at a time. Pretty soon you wake up and you start realizing leaves actually still grow on trees. The sun shines super bright. The skate park is waiting for you. That bike needs to have fucking air put in it. Probably check those PSIs. Get them back up to at least 60. They're probably at 20. That's all right. That bike's still there. Yeah, dude. I try to talk about it every chance I get. Addiction sucks. I want people to know, man, straight up. Like you need help. Don't feel free to reach out to me. Like DM me, whatever you're feeling, and I'll answer the phone. It's only, I missed one phone call once in my life, and the next day he was gone. So I try to answer the phone, try to make sure I make time for people. So anyway, God bless. I'm so stoked to be on here. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, dude. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Your art, dude. Lean into that, bro. That is hearing you talk about art is pretty special too, bro. You can feel that there's definitely some passion there. It's
The thing is about art is I hate it.
Do you?
I do. Dude. Like I only do art when I'm hurt. When I can't go ride. I'm talking about like long periods of time, not like I'm going to take a week off from my bike and let my body heal. I'll do some art. Like art's like my fallback depression pretty much. Like
yeah.
It keeps the depression not from slipping all the way down in the dumps. I do these other things that are like this one. Like it gets all psychedelic. I think that's the drugs in my brain that are left over. But
dude,
anyway, dudes, I appreciate you.
You got it, man. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to leave with this, Troy, Zach, Isaac. Dude, Troy, thanks for being here, man. You know what? Sometimes the BMX conversations turn into other things, but I'm going to tell you what, everything that was said tonight had true passion behind it. Whether we were talking about bikes or just being, 50-year-old dudes living life and going through the stuff that we go through. Everything you said tonight, it touched home with me, whether it's being a father, a BMXer, or just a human being trying to get by each day to see what tomorrow is going to bring and how to get through that, man. So I appreciate you for that. I thank you for that, Zach. Thank you for your input and being here with us and hanging out. I just think it's Troy, you're inspirational on multi levels, brother. And I hope that someone hears this and sends you that DM, not like, hey, jerk, I don't like the way you ride, but hey, man, I heard that podcast, man, I need to talk to you. And then hopefully that makes a difference. Right. And to be honest,
definitely.
I don't ever want to see another painting or a drawing by you because I know that you're
because I've been hurt.
Yeah. But if you do, brother, keep up that artwork. And like I said, I hope I don't have to see another one, but man, if you do, you got some talent behind it, man. Thank you for being here, brother. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank
Yep.
you. I do appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week. Big Bike BMX.
All right.
What for you?